March 12th, 1925. Fear of sea is much too great. Wife induces Riddle to return to private life. Mrs. John Wallace Riddle, wife of the United States Ambassador to Argentina, whose resignation was accepted yesterday by President Coolidge, has explained from her home at Farmington, Connecticut, how a series of sea mishaps which she experienced was the cause of her husband's retirement from foreign diplomatic service. Mrs. Riddle, then Miss Pope, was a passenger on the steamship Lusitania when it was hit by a German torpedo off the coast of Ireland in 1915. Among the 1,198 victims of the disaster were her two travelling companions. Mrs. Riddle was thrown unconscious into the water, but she survived. The shock of the experience disabled her for several months and produced in her mind a dread of the sea that made ocean travel for her an ordeal. A year after the Lusitania disaster, she was married to Riddle. Soon after our marriage, said Mrs. Riddle, it became necessary for us to go abroad, in spite of my distaste for sea voyaging. On the trip from England to Iceland, a boiler blew up aboard our ship. On the way back, the vessel burned at its pier in Norway. The two experiences, linked with the Lusitania horror, greatly deepened my distrust of the ocean. However, when Riddle was appointed ambassador to Argentina, she went with him. Returning to New York 6 months later, she again experienced ill luck. On the way north, she said, the rudder of our ship jammed, the vessel nearly turning turtle, and for a time we were in great peril. For 3 months after landing, I was ill. Now my physician has absolutely forbidden me venturing on the water again. I cannot go with my husband, and he cannot stay with me and retain his post. This winter, when he was home on sick leave, we decided he would have to resign. I took a letter from my physician explaining the circumstances to Secretary Hughes, so the State Department would understand. Mr. Riddle sailed for Argentina last month in order to be at his post when resigning. Mrs. Riddle said her husband would remain in private life.